Welcome to Coffee and Conversation. Well, good morning, church, and welcome to another Coffee and Conversation video here on a Wednesday morning, a time we set aside to reflect on some questions based off of Sunday's teaching, because we want to take that teaching and put it into practice in our everyday lives. So thank you for joining with us. Hopefully you are gathered with your family, or maybe you've called up your friends in a responsible way. I would just encourage you to connect with one another and encourage one another as you discuss these questions and reflect upon Sunday's teaching. We're in a new series called Silent, all about those times where we feel like God's giving us the silent treatment, where He's not responding, where He's not answering our calls or our cries. When we read through the Psalms or the book of Job, we read all these stories and moments of people just crying out and saying, God, why won't you listen? Why won't you answer? Hear our call. And so we need to be able to, think about how we actually respond in those times and think about them theologically. So a fair warning, we have 3 questions for you this week. There's going to be some vulnerability required within these questions and within these discussions. But again, we thank you for participating. So 3 questions about this idea of silence and God being silent when we need Him. Question number 1. What do you do when you feel like God is silent? So first, we want to just take a moment and think about a time where you were dealing with something, you were going through something, walking through something, and you just felt God was silent. He was not answering you. He was not giving you clear direction or guidance. Think about those times or a specific time and think, what did you do? How did you respond to that silence? Was it a struggle? What things did you, kind of give into? Just think about how you responded and the way that you operated and you lived in those moments where you felt like God was silent. Did you handle those situations well? Did you not handle them well? Why or why not? That's question number 1. Question number 2. What questions are you wrestling with? Right now, what questions are you wrestling with and you're feeling like God is not answering? God is being silent. Just take a moment to reflect on those or share with one another. What are the things that you're walking through? The questions that you have not yet answered from God. The things that you're dealing with and are weighing you down even right now. What are those questions that you're wrestling with and you're feeling God is silent with you about? Again, I told you, these questions will require some vulnerability. And finally, question number 3. What can you do to build your faith during times of silence? Moments where we feel God is silent, there's an opportunity there for us to actually build our faith and build our trust in God, knowing that He does listen, He hears our calls, He is faithful to answer in His perfect timing. But even in moments where it doesn't feel like things are happening, it's an opportunity for us to actually build our faith, build our trust in God. So I want to ask you, what is something you can even do this week if you're walking through this kind of moment of silence? What is something that you can do this week in order to build your trust and grow in your faith in a deeper, truer way, even in the silence? So those are your 3 questions for this week. We'll be back next week with another set of questions based off of this sermon series. But thank you for joining us this morning for Coffee and Conversation.